In a recent video, I shared with you my junk journal. This is the first junk journal that I've ever made, and I'm proud of it. As I mentioned in the video, I've been a little bit scared to put pen to paper just because I like the journal so much. I felt like I might mess it up because I am no artist by far. I can barely even draw a stick person, but I really want to use this journal for different things. I want to use it just to do some arts and crafts and doodles and drawings. I want to use it to write down my favorite quotes, to use it as a bullet journal, to make notes of plans that I have coming up in the near future, and just for all sorts of things. A place to put snapshots and cards and all sorts of things. So I decided to get started tonight and just to randomly open it up to a page and start with some quotes and just do something fun, just to pull out some markers and some fabric and lace and just see what I could come up with. So here's what I'm sharing with you as I do the first page in my junk journal. One thing that I really like about this junk journal is that I'm really trying to repurpose a lot of things. The papers that I created for this journal are all recycled papers, and I tea stained the papers, and now I'm using little tidbits of cards and a couple of old printouts that I had, tissue paper, some paper that I actually watercolor stained. I've got all sorts of little scraps of magazines and all sorts of things. I also have things like little pieces of junk jewelry that I have picked up at yard sales, some antique lace and some fabric scraps. So I'm really trying to use things that I'm able to repurpose for this journal. I think that makes it even more fun. So I hope you enjoy watching this video and that it gives you maybe an idea of things that you can pick up from around the house and use to create your journal pages. Today, this one may turn out a particular way with a certain look and maybe even a certain colors, but the one that I do tomorrow or next week may look completely different. And that's what's neat about the journal, is you can use it for what you want to use it for. If you want to use one page as a prayer page, or to write down your blessings or your favorite scripture, I think the possibilities are endless on what you can do with one of these journals. I plan to use this one just to kind of break the ice. This page is just to kind of get me started. And actually, I am really enjoying what you're watching right now. I can remember when me and my brothers were really young and we would be in the living room while Mom and Dad were watching the news, and we would always seem to gravitate toward gathering up some coloring books or some paper and crayons and colored pencils, and we would color and draw. And this kind of reminds me of that. It's very relaxing. Your mind can just wander. There's no right or wrong to it. And you're just creating something beautiful. And it may not be beautiful to anyone other than yourself, but you've created it, and it's something to be proud of. It means something to you. There's a particular reason why you chose to put each tidbit of paper or lace or ribbon in it. And when it all comes together, you've got a wonderful memory of spending this time relaxing and thinking and letting your imagination and your creativity go wild. So I think if you have a journal and you get ready to work on your pages, you're really going to enjoy it. I know that putting the journal together was a whole lot of fun, and I was more nervous about actually using the journal. But as I'm doing what you're watching, I can tell that I'm really going to enjoy filling up the pages of this journal. You can see that I have a box of all different sorts of scrap paper and cards and fabrics and news clippings, and I'm just pulling out a variety of different things. And boy, you can tell I'm making a mess, but I think that's what's so fun about it is I'm not worried about the mess that I'm creating. I'm just cutting and pasting and painting and sewing, and I am just enjoying this. My mind is wondering and imagining, and I'm thinking about what I'll be doing on my next pages, and I'm thinking about what I'm going to be writing about and some of my thoughts and favorite quotes. And this to me is turning out to be a very relaxing thing. I really appreciate all the kind words and the sweet comments you gave me on my journal. Again, it's a very simple journal. I tried not to follow any rules or any instructions. I tried to just make it my own. And a lot of you have asked about the journal and how to put one together and how to sew the pages in. And I will be coming up with a video to show you the steps to making a journal. And there's probably a lot of different ways to make a junk journal, and there's probably easier ways than what I did, but I just kind of come up with something that I felt like would work for me, and I'll be glad to share that with you in the near future. And here I am putting pen to paper and putting some thoughts down on these pages, a couple of quotes, some inspirational words that I would like to read again and again, just some words, some things that may have meaning to me today and tomorrow and even in the past. And I am trying not to put too much thought into coming up with anything. I'm trying to keep it very informal and just make it fun and something that I will enjoy looking back on tomorrow and the next day after that. As you can tell, even though I put a whole bunch of stuff on this journal page, I still have plenty of room to write and jot down some thoughts. So on your journal pages, you can leave a lot of writing space, or you can just leave various spots here or there. You don't have to put as much on your pages as I did on these, and there will be pages in my journal that will not have as many cutouts and graphics and such. But for this first one, I I went overboard. I went a little wild, and I really like it. And I still have plenty of room and little secret spots and flip ups and pull outs to write down some thoughts. So that's kind of what was so fun about it, is when you look at the pages, you don't necessarily see all the words, but when you start folding out the papers or lifting up the fabric or unclipping something and flipping it over, you get to read these messages. And that, to me, is probably the coolest part of all of it. So here's the finished junk journal page, and I think I'm happy with it. Again, this is the first page I've ever done, and it was a little bit hard to put pen to paper, but I think overall I'm pleased with it because it was a lot of fun. Now I'll just show you a couple of the different areas. Underneath the fabric here, it says people may forget what you say, they may forget what you do, but they will never forget how you make them feel. Maya Angelou. And I love junking. This says saved by grace. Look for something positive every day, even though some days you have to look a little bit harder. And here this says, don't compare yourself to strangers on the internet. Be yourself. And I love the cup of coffee or tea here. This one says home sweet home. This one says always make others happy. And on the inside it says always try to make others happy. Be a blessing to others. Always appreciate treasures. This note to myself is a snapshot in time. It says 7:39 p.m. Tuesday night on 8/6/2019, and it says where each member of my family is and what we're doing at this moment. And this all folds together neatly into this little pack. This one says, oh, I love this one, draw without an eraser and always do good. This says, even if you can't, try. Do something fun today. Make today count. And just lots of other little tidbits of information, quotes. This was so much fun to put together, to craft, to cut, to sew. I think this was a lot of fun. And I hope you enjoyed watching it.